Good evening from the Vietnam News Studio. I'm Peter, and tonight's broadcast is packed with major headlines from across the country. We begin with breaking news. A horrific sleeper bus crash on one of Vietnam's busiest expressways has left at least 3 dead and dozens injured. Then, a shocking public health scandal, the unfolding in Hanoi, as police dismantle a criminal ring selling pork contaminated with African swine fever to local restaurants. Also tonight, a stunning theft in Bac Giang. 4 tons of lychees vanish overnight in a bizarre agricultural heist that has farmers furious and investigators baffled. Plus, an update on Ho Chi Minh City's ambitious metro expansion. Could a Vietnam-China consortium be next in line to build it? And we'll take you to Da Nang, where a tragic paragliding accident has claimed the life of a tourist, raising urgent safety concerns. All that, and new data on why foreign investors are suddenly pouring billions into Vietnam's booming real estate market. It's a full evening of hard-hitting stories and exclusive reports, so stay with us. Vietnam News starts right now.
3 people were killed and dozens more injured in Vietnam on Wednesday morning when a passenger bus they were riding in crashed into a different passenger bus that had stopped due to a mechanical issue. The accident happened at around 3:30 a.m. on the Vinh Hao Phan Thieties Expressway in Vietnam's Lam Dong province. According to initial reports from the Vietnam Expressway Corporation, the crash happened in Ham Lim Commune, formerly of Binh Thuan province and now under the jurisdiction of Lam Dong. Following the major administrative restructuring earlier this year, in which 63 Vietnamese provinces and cities were reduced to 34, at the time of the incident, the new Y78 sleeper bus with 29 people on board was traveling southbound when it rear-ended the Thien Tri bus, which had stopped due to a technical issue in the driving lane. Rescue forces arrived at the scene and discovered that the Thien Tri bus had its engine knocked off and pushed forward about 10 meters by the impact. After the collision, 3 people died at the scene. They were identified as La Femme and A View 40, the driver of the Thien Tri bus, his assistant Trin Jaya Bo, 16, and Phan Kim Than, 25, a driver's assistant of the new Y78 bus. Lưu Hien Phoc, director of Binh Thuan General Hospital, told Tui Tre newspaper that nearly 40 crash victims were brought in during the early hours. Most of them sustained minor injuries and were discharged after initial treatment, he said. Meanwhile, a 9-year-old victim was transferred to Children's Hospital in Ho Chi Minh City for further care. Rescue forces redirected traffic at the Ma Lam interchange toward National Highway 1, while emergency crews cleared the crash site. By mid-morning, traffic on this expressway section resumed as normal. The Vinh Hao Phan Thiet Expressway is one of Vietnam's busiest routes, spanning over 100 kilometers. It forms part of the main route between Ho Chi Minh City and Can Ho province. This expressway lacks emergency lanes, and designated stopping points are usually spaced 4 to 5 kilometers apart. The speed limit is 90 kilometers per hour, but several serious accidents have previously occurred along this route. In April last year, 10 people were killed when a petrol tanker crashed into a group of motorcyclists in a car. In July 2021, 5 people were killed and many others injured when a truck collided with a bus and several cars. Following the latest accident, the Expressway Corporation said it would work with relevant agencies to investigate the cause of the crash. We will inspect vehicles and drivers to ensure safety. If necessary, we will temporarily suspend the operation of some vehicles that do not meet the technical standards, an official from the corporation said. Vietnam has one of the world's highest rates of traffic fatalities and serious injuries per 100,000 people. Reckless driving and a lack of safety measures are the main causes of accidents in the country. According to the National Statistics Office, Vietnam recorded 23,484 traffic accidents, causing 10,944 deaths and 17,342 injuries, averaging 64 incidents, 30 deaths, and 47 injuries per day in 2024. The Saigon Times reported 21,532 accidents, 9,954 fatalities, and 16,044 injuries. Noting major violations like wrong-way driving and red light running, a new decree came into effect. January stats: 1,702 accidents, 917 deaths, 1,163 injuries. Nationwide drop of 29 to 34% in accidents, 9 to 17% in fatalities, and 41% in injuries, with 3,408 accidents, 1,843 deaths, 2,306 injuries. In Q1 of 2025, there's been 4,760 accidents, 2,615 deaths, and 3,186 injuries. That's a 28% reduction in accidents and 7.6% fewer deaths versus Q1 2004. Road traffic deaths have dropped in recent years thanks to a variety of government programs aimed at improving road safety. But the number of fatalities remains unacceptably high. Is there anything that can be done to help reduce the number of traffic accidents and deaths in Vietnam? I would like to get your thoughts on this subject. Please leave a comment. I would love to hear from you. Now for our next story. A consortium comprising Vietnamese firms Hanoi Car Group and Ficon, alongside Chinese companies Power China Group and SUCG International Engineering Co. Limited, has submitted a proposal to participate in the development of Ho Chi Minh City's Metro Line 2 and other urban railway schemes, as reported by Tui Tre News. According to a recent statement from Ficon, corporation has partnered with China's state-owned China Railway Engineering Consulting Corporation to submit a proposal to the Ho Chi Minh City People's Committee for the Metro project. If approved, the consortium will carry out a feasibility study for the $2.94 billion project, which is expected to be completed within 2 years. The first phase of the project will involve the construction of a 15.8-kilometer elevated rail line that runs from the Su Chi Tunnel in Go Vap to the Ben Thon Market and District. 1. The project also includes the construction of 13 stations along the route. In its proposal, Ficon and its partners suggested that the Vietnamese government consider providing the consortium with a public-private partnership contract for the project. Under a PPP arrangement, the private sector would be responsible for the project's financing, design, construction, procurement, operation, and maintenance. In return, the consortium would receive payments from the government over a predetermined period of time. This is not the first time Ficon has expressed interest in the Ho Chi Minh City Metro project. In 2020, the corporation proposed to the municipal government that it be allowed to invest in and develop the city's metro system using its own capital. At the time, Ficon said it was willing to offer the local government various cooperation models, including a build-transfer, build-operate-transfer, or public-private partnership. However, the proposal was rejected by the municipal government, which instead opted to work with a French-led consortium led by construction company Vinci to develop the metro line to project. The French company was selected in November 2020 after it submitted the best technical and financial proposal for the project. However, the project has since been stalled due to disagreements over the metro's construction costs. If approved, the project is expected to be completed within 2 years. The development comes as Vietnam is seeking to boost its public transportation infrastructure as part of its efforts to improve its logistics capabilities. In addition to the metro project, the government is also planning to build high-speed railways connecting Hanoi, Da Nang, and Ho Chi Minh City. Stay tuned for more updates. We're back in Hanoi, Vietnam for this story. Police have smashed a ring that was selling pork infected with African swine fever to markets and restaurants in the city, the Ministry of Public Security said on its website on Thursday. Authorities confiscated more than 10 tons of pork from a cold storage facility belonging to one of the suspects in the case in Bac To Lim district. The ministry said the police had also detained 6 people on suspicion of illegally trading in the pork. The ministry said that at the end of July, it received an urgent dispatch from the Municipal People's Committee, requesting an investigation into the trading of diseased pigs and pork in the city. After 2 weeks of working in coordination with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the police identified the source of the illegal pork as a group based in Bac Ninh province. The group slaughtered pigs that were infected with African swine fever and then sold the meat to markets and restaurants in Hanoi. African swine fever is a viral disease of pigs characterized by high fever, hemorrhagic lesions, and multiple organ failure. It has a mortality rate of up to 100% and is a serious threat to the health of both pigs and humans. The disease is not foodborne, but the consumption of undercooked or raw meat from infected pigs can put humans at risk of infection. Initial tests conducted by the National Institute of Animal Health showed that the pork seized from the cold storage facility tested positive for African swine fever. The police are now working with relevant agencies to trace all of the pork products that were sold by the gang so they can be destroyed. Major General Levon Mann, director of the Hanoi Department of Public Security, said at a press conference on Thursday that the police are expanding the investigation to identify all individuals and organizations involved in the case. He said that those involved will be dealt with severely according to the law. Nguyen Van Hung, head of the Animal Health Department under the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, said that the ministry has sent a dispatch to all localities nationwide, asking them to strengthen the monitoring and control of African swine fever. He said that localities should step up communication and education to raise public awareness of the risks of African swine fever and the importance of complying with regulations on animal health and safety. In February, another gang that trafficked African swine fever-infected pigs and pork was uncovered in northern Vietnam. In that case, more than 4 tons of diseased pork was found and destroyed. Vietnam has been battling an outbreak of African swine fever since early 2019. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, over 7 million pigs have been culled since the start of the outbreak. The ministry said the accumulated losses from the epidemic reached over $1 billion, including nearly $530 million worth of pigs and $485 million worth of production cuts. In order to prevent the further spread of the disease, the ministry has recommended that farmers and breeders nationwide intensify biosecurity measures, including limiting the number of people entering pig farms, disinfecting vehicles and equipment, and separating pigs by age. African swine fever is not new. The virus has been detected in several countries across the world, including Russia, Georgia, Ukraine, Romania, Bulgaria, Mozambique, South Africa, and the United States. We will have any updates as they become available. A Vietnamese tourist died after falling from a paraglider in the central city of Da Nang on Tuesday afternoon, according to the Municipal Border Guard Command. The accident happened at around 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday when a paraglider piloted by a man identified only as P crashed in the forested area near Bien Dong Resort on Sun Tra Peninsula, said a representative from the Border Guard Command. The paraglider was carrying 2 people, a 36-year-old male tourist from Ho Chi Minh City, identified only as T, and the pilot, 41-year-old LMP, from Tropical Forest Trading and Services one-member Co. Ltd., the paragliding service provider. The tragedy occurred when P was piloting the paraglider from the 6064-meter high summit of Sun Tra Mountain toward the landing area. For some reason, T fell from the paraglider and into the forest, while P continued flying for a short distance before crashing onto a coastal sandbank. Rescuers from the Da Nang Fire and Rescue Police and the Border Guard Command rushed to the scene and found T dead. Meanwhile, T was taken to hospital in critical condition. Initial investigation showed that the paraglider was one of 5 allowed to operate on the peninsula, while P was among 27 pilots licensed to provide paragliding services there. The paragliding company is based in Sun Tra. It was established in 2018. It offers tourists paragliding experiences with a fee of $75 per person. The activity usually takes about 15 minutes and operates from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Following the accident, the management board of Sun Tra Peninsula and Da Nang Tourist Beaches has suspended all paragliding services on the peninsula pending the outcome of the investigation. A spokesperson for the Department of Culture, Sports, and Tourism confirmed the accident and said the department will submit a detailed report on the case. This is the first paragliding accident that has resulted in death in Da Nang since the activity was introduced to the city in 2016. Prior to this incident, the city had sent a document to relevant agencies and units asking them to strengthen management and safety measures for paragliding and other similar activities. The department also requested that the operators of paragliding and other flying services on Sun Tra Peninsula review and enhance their safety protocols and emergency response plans. As one of the most popular destinations in Vietnam, Da Nang has attracted many domestic and international visitors in recent years. The city offers various outdoor activities such as paragliding, mountain climbing, and caving, which are considered thrilling and exciting experiences for adventure seekers. However, These activities also carry inherent risks and require strict safety measures to ensure the well-being of tourists and locals alike. Please stay safe out there. Vietnam has seen foreign direct investment more than double in the first half this year, signaling confidence in its economy despite global uncertainties. Let's get the numbers first. Foreign direct investment in Vietnam's property sector jumped 2.4 times to 4.8 billion United States dollars in the first half this year, LAT's data shows. The figure comprised newly registered capital, which accounted for 24% of the total and adjusted capital. In all sectors, foreign direct investment surged 33% to $21.5 billion. Newly registered capital alone dropped 10% to $9.3 billion. Singapore was the biggest foreign investors with over $2.4 billion, accounting for nearly 26% of newly registered capital. This was followed by China, Sweden, and Japan. CBRE Zan noted that Vietnam still stands out as a prime destination in the region thanks to a stable macroeconomic foundation, consistent open-door policies, and strong long-term growth potential. But what's driving the interest? We asked experts. Here's what they had to say. Changes in 3 key laws. Land, real estate, business, and housing, effective from August 1, 2024, have contributed to creating a transparent and secure legal framework for investors, facilitating easier access to land, said Nguyen Hoian, Senior Director at Sieber Hanoi. Infrastructure development is also a significant driver of foreign direct investment inflows into real estate. It noted that major projects such as the Long Than International Airport and ring roads in Hanoi and HCMC are fueling a shift toward peripheral areas. She added that foreign businesses are increasingly expanding into satellite markets with abundant land and robust technical and transport infrastructure. According to Nguyen Le Dung, head of investment advisory at property consultancy Civiles Hanoi, Vietnam is strengthening comprehensive strategic partnerships with many countries which are enhancing the market's appeal, including in real estate for foreign enterprises. She pointed out that emerging segments like data centers and flexible cooperation models are shaping the global market. Vietnam's strategic geographic location, dynamic economic policies, and young population position it as a prime destination for data center investments. The Telecommunications Law 2023, effective from early 2025, with more flexible and open regulations, will further support this sector's growth and attract additional foreign investment, she added. Despite short-term fluctuations, Vietnam still maintains its competitive edge and potential for foreign investors. According to Dung, 3 key drivers will continue to attract foreign capital into property in the second half: an improved legal framework, proactive economic diplomacy, and the potential for emerging market segments. Our next story brings us to Hanoi. More than a dozen people were injured, and 1 man has died after a 4-seat car in Vietnam suddenly accelerated and plowed into a crowd of motorbikes. The accident happened on Wednesday morning in Hanoi. The middle-aged woman was driving a Toyota sedan along Tran Dai Gia Street at around 7:50 a.m. when the car began to swerve. It suddenly accelerated and collided with multiple motorbikes traveling in the same direction. After the impact, the car continued heading past the Tran Dai Gia Dai La intersection, where it struck a group of motorcyclists stopped at a red light. It only came to a halt after crashing into a tree in front of a house. One of the motorcyclists waiting at the red light, Hong Thi Nun, said she was hit from behind, thrown to the ground, and could not get up until someone came to help her. I feel pain all over my body, Nung told VN Express newspaper, adding that she suffered scrapes on her torso and limbs. Authorities confirmed that more than 10 people were injured and taken to Bach Mai Hospital, about 1 kilometer from the scene. One of them, a man in his 40s, died soon after arrival due to multiple injuries. At the site of the crash, the car's airbags had deployed and its front end was heavily damaged. Over a dozen motorbikes were left overturned, stacked, and scattered across roughly 100 meters of Tran Dai Gia Street. Some were crushed against trees and others dragged along the road. The female driver appeared visibly shaken as she exited the vehicle and was consoled by bystanders. Her husband later told authorities that she had been suffering from insomnia for several days before the incident. He said she had taken medication for the condition, but had forgotten to take a dose that morning, according to the local police. An investigation is underway to determine the exact cause of the accident. In Vietnam, where traffic accidents are common, Drivers are often found to be at fault for failing to comply with traffic rules or driving under the influence of alcohol. But this case appears to be an unusual one, as the driver was a woman, and it's uncommon for Vietnamese women to drink and drive. Wednesday's accident also comes amid a debate over whether the increasing number of motorbikes on Hanoi's streets, many of which are old and in poor condition, has made the capital more dangerous. With limited public transportation options, many people in Hanoi rely on motorbikes for daily activities, leading to severe traffic congestion and frequent accidents. The Hanoi Department of Transport has proposed various solutions to alleviate traffic problems, including promoting the use of public transportation and restricting motorbike travel during peak hours. However, these measures have yet to be implemented. A man surnamed B, who witnessed Wednesday's accident, said the driver should have known she was unwell and should not have driven. She might not have meant to crash into the group of motorcyclists, he said, adding that the driver was very emotional as she repeatedly shouted, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." In 2018, a similar accident in Hanoi claimed the lives of 19 people, mostly school children. The driver in that case, who had consumed alcohol, was sentenced to 12 years in prison. These stories are never easy to report. Our last story is another accident of sorts, but thankfully no one was physically hurt in this one. Hanoi, Vietnam. Nearly 4 tons of lychees, worth $28 million. Vietnamese dong, or over $1,000, were stolen in Hanoi on Sunday after a truck carrying the fruit overturned the day before and spilled its cargo on the side of the road. According to the truck driver, B. Thielich, 38, at around 11:50 p.m. on Saturday, she was driving a truck loaded with 4 tons of lychees on her way from Hanoi to Phu Tho province, when she had an accident in Dan, Ho Chi Minh, in the Hanoi suburbs. The truck overturned, spilling all the fruit onto the road. With the help of passers-by who called a tow truck, Lychees and her husband moved the vehicle to a nearby garage about 2 kilometers away for repairs. At around 4 a.m. on Sunday, when Lychees returned to the accident site, she found dozens of people gathering to take the lychees. She tried to stop them, explaining that the fruit was her family's property, but some people continued to take it. Feeling helpless, Lychees and her husband decided to leave for their home, accepting the loss of their goods. The incident was captured by a bystander and shared on social media, sparking public debate. Many criticized the act of theft, while others suggested that people might have thought the fruit had been discarded. Nguyen Dinh Dat, the tow truck driver who helped Lychees on Sunday morning, told VN Express that when he arrived at the scene, Lychees and her husband were still in shock. He said he initially planned to help load the fruit onto his truck, but the amount was too large, so he prioritized towing the truck for repairs. A representative from the Don Ho Commune People's Committee told VN Express that they were aware of the truck accident on Saturday evening, but that the driver had not reported it to local authorities. On Sunday morning, many people passing by saw the lychees piled on the roadside and, noticing there was no one guarding them, decided to take some. Upon learning that some people still took the fruit despite the owner's attempts to stop them, "We have instructed the police to investigate and clarify the situation," the representative said. The representative also added that after the story spread on social media on Monday, local authorities learned that some individuals who had taken the fruit reached out to the owner to offer compensation. Lychees said that the 4 tons of lychees were valued at approximately 28 million Vietnamese dong, or $1,072. After the story went viral, many people contacted her to offer financial support. Some admitted to taking the fruit, thinking it had been discarded, and expressed a desire to return the money. "I for one hope that the family was able to recoup everything they had lost. I have faith that many people did the right thing. Let me know, did the people taking the fruit think it was left behind, and took it so it wouldn't go to waste? Or do you think people knew the owners would come back and took some so they would have free lychees? Let me know in the comments."
That concludes tonight's top headlines. As always, we appreciate you choosing Vietnam News for your trusted updates from across the country and the Southeast Asian region. If you found tonight's report informative, please give it a like. It really helps us reach more viewers. And don't forget to subscribe for the latest breaking news and analysis. We'd love to hear your thoughts, whether it's on road safety, food regulation, or Vietnam's economic future. So join the conversation in the comments below. I'm Peter, and from all of us here at Vietnam News, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next report. Stay safe, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter where you are in the world. Thanks for watching Vietnam News, where East meets West. See you next time.